and leaders of our church as we journey through topics that inform, engage, and inspire the daily life of our church.
Welcome to the Roundtable at Pulaski Heights United Methodist Church. My name is Michael McMurray. I'm the Director of Communications on staff here.
I'm Rod Hocott. I am currently the Director of Mid-Youth Ministry here at Pulaski Heights United Methodist.
My name is Rowland, and I am the Minister to Youth and Families here at Pulaski Heights.
My name is Daniel Curry. I'm on staff here at Pulaski Heights.
Today, we are actually going to interview Rod Hocott. Rod is retiring. We've announced at this point, and we're really going to miss you. But we thought it would be special because all three of us have really grown up under your ministry and have been impacted by it. So we just kind of wanted to talk about you and your almost 55 years of ministry. So I guess I know each of us have been impacted by Rod. How did you guys meet Rod, and how did that? What do y'all remember about that?
Rod honestly kind of took a chance on me when I was in college at the University of Central Arkansas. So at UCA, when Rod was at Conway First United Methodist Church, he approached me as needing volunteers for the mid-youth ministry there. And we had lunch, had a great discussion, and gave me my first experience within a ministry setting. So I will forever be thankful for that, for sure.
Yeah, and I really have felt called to youth ministry since I was a teen. And I had so many people in my life go, no, you're not. You're going to be an elder like your mom. You're going to do something else. You're going to end up doing something else. And when I went to college, I sat in Reverend J.J. Whitney's office and said, I really want to find some space in a local church where I can try this out. And she sent me to Rod, and for the first time in my whole life, I came in and I said, I feel like I'm really called to youth ministry. And Rod said, well, that's awesome. And took me in as his volunteer and then his intern. And now we get to work together here. So it's
now you're my boss.
I know, which is just wild. So it's just been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rod, I remember my first time meeting you. I was a youth, and you were working at the conference. Mm-hmm. And we had like a retreat, and I don't know why I couldn't go, but so I like zoomed into the retreat because I wanted to plan things, because I like to be in charge. Not that surprising. But yeah, and I remember I met you there, and then when I got to college at Hendrix, you were like, hey, let's get a lunch, and you wanna come help me out. And it was a great 4 years. I'm not big on the middle schoolers, but we had a good time.
Yeah, we did. Because I remembered how good you were about wanting to be involved in things from California. You were in California.
Oh, that's right.
And you zoomed in to that meeting, and I thought, man, if he that gung ho, I need him. I need his help.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate all of you saying yes.
It was a scary thing when you put a microphone in our hands for mid-youth, like costume night or whatever it was. Yeah, there were fun opportunities to be had. Yeah, it was good.
Absolutely.
So, Rod, what do you think, looking back on your years of ministry? What has been maybe your favorite part?
Well, I know it sounds cliche, but of course it's the kids, and I guess watching them be in relationship with each other and building a relationship with God, you just can't beat it wherever they come in. If they come in as fifth graders, if they move to town, if they come in as a 10th grader and get involved, and it's just that's all. That's what we do. And I just think that's the most important. Matter of fact, last Wednesday night I had a young lady who came. She was a sixth grader. She came with a friend, and it's her second week. And she came up to me afterwards and she said, "How do you get to be a member of this group?" And I said, "Well, all you have to do is show up on Wednesday night." And that's what she's going to do. And I said, "Do your parents go to church?" And she said, "We don't have a church yet." And I said, "Well, you can have one now." So that's awesome. That's my best part is the kids.
Yeah.
And doesn't get any better than that.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That's super cool. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Great to see that impact.
Well, and in so many ways, youth ministry is the same throughout the years. Like, you have seen so many people. You have people's grandchildren that you were their original youth pastor. But right. I think we're curious at the table how youth ministry has changed since you started.
when I first started in youth ministry, I didn't mean to be a youth minister. I was hired by First Methodist Church in Fort Smith to be the children and youth choir director. And the youth choir program became so popular that they said, "Do you want to do the youth ministry too?" And I said, "Well, if you're going to pay me more, I will." so I took that on. And in those days, though, there was absolutely nothing. There was no group magazine. There was no Perkins School of Youth Ministry. There was no training. There was no any of those things. So everything had to kind of come out of here. And so I just there were game books, so I could look up games to play, and but there just was nothing. And then along about, I don't know, 2000 maybe, Group Magazine started putting out all these, group publishing, and they put in all this good stuff. And so I just used the stuff I got from them. They would have, and every month I would get a magazine, and every month they would have 4 lessons that I could do at youth group. And I used a little bit of imagination and tweaked them a little bit to get them for my group,
right?
And use that, and it was just wonderful until I decided that I can do this as good. I can do this almost as good as they can.
Yeah.
So I still use their ideas and stuff, but there was nothing back then in those days. But now then we're blessed because I online now every day I get 4, 5, 8 maybe things about youth ministry.
Yeah.
Here's something you can do with youth ministry, and so that's the way it is. It was just nothing.
Yeah.
But we're blessed to have all the things we have. Perkins School of Youth Ministry is wonderful. It's a great training opportunity for youth ministers, and so I'm glad for that.
And you taught there for a while, right?
I did, and one year I even was the head honcho of the thing, and I don't know why that's important. I did teach there for a few years, and you get to meet a lot of neat people, not a lot of neat youth ministers from all over the country, because they come there from everywhere. So it was a good experience.
Well, and I think that's what people miss is it's pioneering.
Yeah.
Rod is the original pioneer, especially through the 80s and 90s and that early 2000, when there was nothing else. People were looking at you and going, well, what is Rod Hocott doing? And in a lot of ways, as you've brought up mid-youth ministry and said, what if we include 5th graders? It's still the same thing. Still out there pioneering after 50 years.
Yeah, I remember when we were, I guess it was at conference events. Maybe Veritas? But we had the I'm in Rod's youth group t-shirt when you were working for the conference. And Rod was like a legend. It was pretty cool. I got an interview out of college at a pretty big church for a youth ministry job, solely because Rod Hocott was my reference, which is nuts.
That's nice.
Within our little world, Rod is a real celebrity. And that's...
You guys, now stop.
It's fun. It's just fun.
I need one of the vintage I'm in Rod's youth group t-shirts.
I know.
I think we need to recreate those if we don't already have them.
We'll
find one. Yes, Ellen, you're in charge. That's great. But I think that, we've talked about it already, but you being able to create the resources when there were no resources speaks to your creativity, your call, all of those things. And now that we've all been volunteers underneath your ministry, Ellen's in youth ministry, I was in youth ministry, Michael volunteering in youth ministry, we know the importance of that role and how ministry doesn't happen without volunteerism and a good core group of volunteers. So do you have any advice for anybody that might be looking to get involved or wanting to get in ministry in general or volunteering in a youth ministry setting?
I do. As a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I think that first of all you have to remember that it's not about you. If you're going to do it, it's not about you. It's about you and the kids and God and the relationships you build through that. And so I think that also there are some basics that I've learned over the 54 years. One of them is that the senior pastor and this is going to sound crazy, the senior pastor is always the number one youth minister. They don't do the youth ministry, but if they're not out there supporting you and telling people what's going on and it's a good deal, then people are not going to be supportive. I think you have to have parent and involvement and commitment from parents. Because if you don't, I mean, particularly for my group, 5th, 6th, and 7th graders, they can't drive. So parents have to get them here.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we do. Also, I think that realizing that it is a youth ministry, and we need to have them as leaders, building a strong leadership team, and let them make decisions for their group. You know this. You know this. Michael knows. We all know this already. But if you're going into youth ministry, or particularly, you need to understand that the youth need to have a say-so in what goes on in their program. Now, I have the final say when it comes to what they want to do, but we do let them. I let them make a lot of decisions. They do a lot of the devotionals. They plan the games. So giving them that sort of thing. Communication is another big deal. And there are so many ways to communicate today. As a matter of fact, I can't do them all. So there are so many ways I can't do them all. And so I depend on someone else to do it for me. And that's why we have a wonderful staff here at Pulaski Heights, is because there are people who are willing to do that and keep everybody informed. So those are the things. But mostly it's just realizing that it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships. Them and God. That's it.
Definitely.
If we can keep that perspective, then we're okay.
Yay, that's it in a nutshell.
Amen.
Yeah.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Thanks for joining us at the Roundtable, a podcast of discussions with substance. Join us next week. We're going to ask Rod a couple more questions, and we'll see you then. You have a great day, and don't forget to tell somebody about Pulaski Heights United Methodist Church.
All right.